When a woman is secretly interested in you, one of the first and most telling signs lies not in grand gestures, but in her attention. People often underestimate how valuable and rare genuine attention is in today's world, where distractions are constant and focus is fleeting. Yet when a woman is drawn to you, she has a way of narrowing her world, even if just momentarily, so that you are at the center of it. This doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's in the way she remembers a detail you shared weeks ago, something you yourself may have forgotten. Sometimes it's in the way her eyes search for yours in a crowded room, seeking acknowledgement even without words. And other times, it's in how she positions herself to ensure you notice her presence. Attention, in this sense, is affection in disguise. Psychologically, attention is one of the purest forms of validation. We give it only to what matters to us. When she consistently offers you hers, even subtly, she is revealing more than she intends. You might notice she listens differently to you than she does to others. She isn't just hearing your words, she is absorbing them, storing them, letting them matter to her. And the significance of that cannot be overstated. When someone chooses to prioritize your voice in a world filled with noise, it is a quiet declaration of value. But why does she not say it openly? The truth is, many women hold back from confessing interest directly because of vulnerability. Admitting attraction exposes one to rejection, and rejection can feel deeply personal. So instead of words, she opts for actions that appear harmless on the surface, but carry weight underneath. Think about how she engages with your stories. Does she recall your preferences, your frustrations, or even your ambitions with precision? That's not casual memory. That's selective attention born out of genuine care. Philosophically, attention is an act of presence. In a sense, it is love in its earliest and most fragile form. To attend to someone is to invest in them, to give them a piece of your consciousness. And what we invest in reveals our priorities. If her attention keeps circling back to you, despite her best efforts to remain neutral, it shows she is pulled by something deeper than she is willing to admit. Men often miss this sign because they are looking for bold confessions or obvious flirtation. But the truth is, desire often moves quietly. It disguises itself as curiosity, as interest in your life, as a subtle shift of focus in your direction. When you notice that she seems to find reasons to listen to you longer, to respond with more depth, or to engage with you more attentively than with others, recognize it for what it is, her guard giving way, little by little. So, when a woman gives you her attention in a world where attention is currency, take it seriously. It may be the first crack in the wall she has built around her feelings. And if you are wise enough to see it, you'll understand that attention is never accidental. It's the first secret sign of her affection, carefully disguised yet impossible to fully hide. If attention is the first signal of hidden attraction, then body language is the evidence that makes it undeniable. A woman may control her words, she may carefully construct her sentences to keep her feelings disguised, but her body often betrays her. Human beings are wired to express emotion physically before the mind has a chance to censor it. That is why when a woman secretly likes you, you'll notice her posture, her gestures, even the micro expressions on her face shifting in ways she may not even be aware of. Think about the way she positions herself around you. Does she lean slightly closer when you speak, even in a group setting? That lean is not random. It is her body's instinctive way of closing the distance between you. Or notice the way her feet angle toward you even when her torso is directed elsewhere. Psychologists have long explained that our feet reveal our true intentions, because unlike the face, we rarely think about controlling them. If her body is oriented toward you more often than not, it's a powerful sign she feels drawn to you. Eye contact is another revealing layer. Prolonged eye contact can feel almost too vulnerable, so she may look at you for a second too long and then glance away quickly. That quick retreat is not disinterest. It's her attempt to hide the intensity of her attraction. and sometimes it works the other way. She avoids your eyes altogether, not because she doesn't care, but because looking at you exposes too much of what she's holding inside. In both cases, the truth is in the tension. Then there are the subtle, almost playful touches. Maybe she brushes something off your shoulder, or her hand lingers just a little longer when she passes you an object. These small touches are her way of testing boundaries without committing to a confession. They seem casual, but they are layered with intention. And if she's more physically expressive with you than with others, that difference matters. Why does this happen? Because body language is a reflection of the unconscious. The philosopher Kierkegaard once said, "What the heart knows today, the head will know tomorrow." In the same way, what the body expresses today, the mouth may never dare to say. Her movements reveal truths she may be unwilling or unable to verbalize. Attraction, when restrained, often leaks out through the physical because the body seeks release from the tension of holding it all inside. Many men overlook these cues, dismissing them as coincidence. But in reality, very little in body language is accidental. It's the language of the unspoken, a code that, once understood, allows you to see beyond appearances. If her body consistently points toward you, if her gestures carry an unusual warmth, if her eyes tell a different story than her words, believe the body. Another powerful way a woman secretly shows interest is by creating opportunities for connection. This is one of those behaviors that often goes unnoticed because it can look so casual, so ordinary, that many men dismiss it as coincidence. But there is very little about attraction that is accidental. When someone desires your presence, they find ways, sometimes subtle, sometimes deliberate, to weave themselves into your daily rhythm. And even when she tries to appear detached, her actions reveal her intent. You may notice that she happens to be around more often than chance would allow. Perhaps she shows up at the same events, lingers a little longer in the places you frequent, or seems to cross paths with you more than seems random. On the surface, it looks like happenstance. Beneath the surface, it's her unconscious strategy for staying close to you without having to declare her feelings outright. Proximity, after all, is one of the strongest tools of attraction. Where the heart leans, the body tends to follow. Beyond physical presence, she may also spark small conversations or reach out in seemingly insignificant ways. Maybe she asks for help with something she could easily do herself, or she shares something trivial just to have a reason to engage. These are not just conversations, they are openings, doors she is holding ajar to see if you'll walk through. She may mask them as casual interactions, but they are purposeful. It's her way of saying, "I want to connect with you, but I need you to notice without me having to expose myself completely." Psychologically, this aligns with what we know about human behavior and attraction. When people like someone, they are motivated to increase interaction while still protecting themselves from rejection. It's a delicate dance of approach and retreat. By creating opportunities rather than direct confessions, she reduces the risk. If you respond positively, she can interpret it as mutual interest. If you don't, she can retreat gracefully, framing her actions as friendly or coincidental. This duality protects her ego while still allowing her to signal desire. What's fascinating is that these opportunities often carry an emotional undertone. You'll sense that the interaction has a slightly different quality compared to when she engages with others. Her energy is more present, her interest sharper, her attention more invested. Even the smallest excuse to reach out becomes charged with meaning when attraction is involved. Philosophically, this reveals something about love itself. Desire rarely announces itself with clarity at the start. It is cautious, often disguised, moving in shadows before it dares to stand in the light. That is why these subtle openings matter so much. They are the quiet beginnings of intimacy. Small bridges she builds in the hope that you'll cross them. So don't overlook the little moments. The casual text, the unexpected appearance, the small favors, the shared jokes. These are not random fragments. They are signs of her weaving a thread of connection between you and her, thread by thread, until one day it forms something stronger. Another subtle, but telling way a woman secretly shows interest is through her emotional availability toward you. This is not always expressed in dramatic ways, like heartfelt confessions or long, vulnerable conversations. Often, it's in the small, almost invisible gestures that indicate you occupy a place in her inner world. She may listen more intently when you speak, remember details about your life that others overlook, or create a space where you feel heard and understood. These actions may appear friendly on the surface, but beneath them lies the unspoken truth. She values the connection deeply, perhaps more than she dares to admit. Think about it. We live in a world where attention is scarce, where people guard their energy and often keep their emotional lives shielded. So when someone chooses to invest in you, when they listen not just to your words, but to the meaning behind them, it signals something more. It means you matter to them. If she goes out of her way to support you during a difficult moment, checks in on you unexpectedly, or simply remembers the small things you've shared, that's her silent way of letting you know you're important to her. Psychologically, this behavior reflects one of the most fundamental aspects of attractions: selective emotional investment. People don't give their attention freely. They give it where their heart inclines. And while she may cloak her care in the guise of friendship, the consistency of her support betrays her deeper feelings. Notice how she responds when you're vulnerable. Does she lean in with empathy, offering comfort and reassurance? That instinctive response is a powerful sign of her hidden affection. At the same time, this emotional availability may not always look like constant encouragement. Sometimes it reveals itself in concern. She might question you about your choices, challenge you when she thinks you're off track, or express subtle jealousy when other women enter the picture. On the surface, these reactions could be dismissed as casual observations. But if you pay attention, you'll realize they come from a place of personal investment. People rarely concern themselves deeply with those they are indifferent to. Her concern is not random, it's rooted in care. Philosophically, this unveils a profound truth about human connection. Love, or even the beginnings of it, shows itself in where we place our attention. To give another your consistent care, to notice their needs and respond to them, is one of the most vulnerable forms of expression. It means you are quietly tying your emotional well-being to theirs. For her, offering this level of support while still hiding her true intentions is both courageous and cautious. She's protecting her heart while still showing it. Another quiet but unmistakable sign of a woman's hidden interest lies in the way she makes herself available to you. Sometimes subtly, sometimes almost unconsciously. Availability here doesn't always mean she's clearing her calendar in obvious ways. Rather, it's how she prioritizes you in the small decisions she makes. If she consistently finds time to respond to you, to show up when you need her, or to be present in moments where she could have easily excused herself, it signals something deeper than casual interaction. Think about how people generally operate in a world where everyone is busy, guarded, and often self-absorbed. Time becomes the most valuable currency. We spend it where our priorities lie. If she chooses to carve out space for you, whether it's answering your late night message, adjusting her plans to match yours, or creating opportunities to be around you, it reveals that you hold a place of significance in her life. Even if she never directly says she likes you, her availability tells its own story. There's also an element of intentionality hidden here. Notice how she reacts when you propose something, even something small. Does she lean towards saying yes more often than no? Does she show enthusiasm when you invite her into your world, even if it's something simple like grabbing coffee or sharing an errand? That willingness to join you isn't about the activity itself. It's about the company. She wants to be in your orbit because being near you brings her quiet satisfaction, even if she never confesses it. Psychologically, availability is tied to investment. A woman who is indifferent won't sacrifice her comfort, her time, or her energy to align with you. But when she cares, though she may disguise it, her behavior betrays her. She might linger after a group hangout just to talk with you a bit longer. She might happen to run into you in places she knows you'll be. She might even rearrange her priorities in ways so seamless you don't notice until you reflect. These actions, small as they may seem, are her way of saying, "You matter enough for me to choose you over other options." And here's where it becomes philosophically profound. Availability is not just a scheduling decision, it's an act of vulnerability. When someone gives you their time, they're giving you a piece of their life they can never get back. In that sense, her availability is her silent offering of affection, a way of investing in you without demanding anything in return. It's her method of saying, "I may not be ready to declare my feelings, but I'm showing you where my heart inclines." So the next time you notice her consistently showing up, whether it's physically, emotionally, or simply through her willingness to stay connected, recognize it for what it is. That's not ordinary behavior. That's a sign of quiet craving, a form of interest wrapped in caution. Another subtle but deeply telling sign of a woman's hidden attraction lies in the way she remembers the little things about you. It's easy for someone to recall the big, obvious details, your name, where you work, or what car you drive. But when she holds on to the minor fragments of your life, the story you told about your childhood pet, the snack you prefer when you're stressed, or the fact that you had an important meeting last Tuesday, those details are not random. They are evidence of attentiveness, of emotional investment, and of a heart that quietly prioritizes you even when you're not around. Memory, in this context, isn't just about cognitive recall. It's about selective attention. Think of it this way: we are bombarded daily with information, conversations, and interactions. Most of it gets filtered out. But what sticks is what matters. If you find that she consistently recalls things you said in passing, things you may have even forgotten you mentioned, it signals that she's not just hearing you. She's listening, storing, and cherishing what comes from you. And that kind of attention is never neutral. It is fueled by care, even if she refuses to name it out loud. There is also a deeper psychology at work here. When someone remembers the small details about you, they are creating a mental map of who you are. They are piecing together the puzzle of your personality, your preferences, your rhythms, and your values. For a woman who secretly craves you but can't express it, this becomes her quiet way of drawing closer without breaching the walls of silence she has chosen to maintain. Her memory becomes her intimacy. It is her way of being close to you without having to confess the longing she feels. At times, you may even notice her using this memory in subtle gestures, bringing you something she knows you like, referencing a story you once told, or anticipating your needs before you even voice them. These are not coincidences. They are intentional acts wrapped in the disguise of casual kindness. To the untrained eye, they may seem like ordinary friendliness, but to the discerning mind, they are signals of something deeper. Because no one invests energy in remembering and acting on the details of someone's life unless that person has touched them at a meaningful level. Philosophically, this reveals something profound about human connection. We remember what we value. We remember what has stirred our emotions. And we remember what we quietly hope will stay in our lives. Her memory of you then becomes a reflection of her unspoken desire. It is the evidence of affection living in the shadows, waiting for the courage or the right moment to step into the light. So when you notice a woman recalling the little things about you, don't dismiss it as coincidence. Recognize it for what it is, a love language of the hidden heart, a whisper disguised as memory. Because in those details lies the truth. She won't say out loud you matter to her in ways she cannot yet confess.